Dating advice I wish I was given a long time ago. The Buddhists say if you meet somebody and your heart pounds, your hands shake, your knees go weak, that's not the one. When you meet your soulmate, you'll feel calm, no anxiety, no agitation. I try to avoid ruminating, but sometimes when I look back on the train wreck that is my dating history, I can't help but regret not knowing this one simple advice I'm about to share with you. In my never-ending quest for true love, I always chased chemistry. I wanted that intense spark, that overwhelming attraction, completely unaware that this very feeling had been holding me back all along. I wasted over 15 years chasing the spark and getting burned every single time. A few years ago, I came across a book that really changed my outlook on dating. By then, I had already unknowingly broken that destructive pattern and was in a relationship with someone I later married. So what I read about came to me late, but it hit home. The author argued that intense instant chemistry is usually a warning sign, not a green light. That the people who ignite that fire in us are often triggering unresolved issues we carry. And that's what chemistry really is. Not a sign of true love, but a sign of trouble ahead. He also suggested that with the right person, you should definitely feel some chemistry, just not too much. Ideally, it should fall somewhere between a 4 and 7 on a scale of 0 to 10, where 10 is obsessive, overwhelming passion, and 0 is total indifference. Psychologists say unresolved emotional patterns may be at play. One theory is that the excitement we feel is actually an urgent, unconscious wish to relive and fix our past. For example, if you grew up with inconsistency or felt unloved, you might be magnetically drawn to someone who triggers those familiar feelings, hoping, subconsciously, that this time you'll finally earn the love or stability you lacked before. That instant connection, that feeling like you've known them forever, it might not be fate, it might be your past trying to repeat itself. Experts call this repetition compulsion. We're drawn to what we know, even if it hurt us, in a subconscious attempt to rewrite the ending. Psychological reasons behind the fireworks. This psychological trap helps explain why infatuation can be so misleading. The body's chemistry during early love, a mix of cortisol, dopamine, and adrenaline, actually mirrors a stress response. That fluttery excitement might feel like passion, but it might also be your nervous system sounding an alarm. Instead of listening, though, we often fall into cognitive dissonance. We rationalize the red flags to protect the intoxicating belief that this love will fix everything. In the rush of new romance, emotional needs take the driver's seat. Whether it's validation, excitement, or an end to loneliness, those cravings make us latch on to whoever seems to fill the void in the moment. In short, our own psychology can deceive us. We mistake anxiety or unmet emotional needs for passion. That urgent chemistry, it might actually be our trauma talking. And when I look back, the most intense reactions I had were always toward men who were emotionally unavailable. They couldn't give me what I so desperately needed. And I think that's exactly why I wanted them. Deep down, I didn't feel worthy of real love. So I was only drawn to men who made me earn their affection, because receiving love freely didn't feel believable. On the flip side, whenever I met someone who was emotionally available and open to starting a relationship, I felt repelled. I couldn't run away fast enough. And that's how I ended up in relationships with Mr. Yogi, who always had other girls on the side, Mr. Protein Shake, who fat shamed me and made me feel ugly for years, and the one that hurt the most, a married man I fell hopelessly in love with. Obviously, he didn't tell me he was married. I found that out by accident. And even after I broke it off, a part of me couldn't let go. I kept showing up at the same parties, sending him longing glances from across the room, searching for an excuse to talk. When he got divorced, I genuinely believed we'd finally be together. Instead, he hooked up with one of my close friends. I was crushed. It took years to get over him. Because of this intense chemistry, I fell into the trap of believing that we were meant for each other. Someone once told me, you could walk into a room full of quality, available men, and one unavailable, toxic guy. And that's the one you'd fall for. That truly resonated with me. Love bombing, when chemistry is a trap. Love bombing is a major red flag. Therapists warn that intense chemistry at the start of a relationship can, in the worst cases, be the result of love bombing, a hallmark of narcissistic and otherwise toxic dynamics. For example, in a narcissist codependent relationship, the narcissistic partner might shower the other person with charm, gifts, and soulmate-level attention right away, exploiting the codependent person's longing for love and validation. The codependent, starved for affection, mistakes this over-the-top courtship for genuine devotion, not realizing it's a calculated strategy to gain control. Psychologist Ginger Dean describes how it can feel undeniable, like this is the one. But that intensity is manufactured through flattery and the rapid escalation of intimacy. Once the target is emotionally invested, the narcissistic partner often begins to withdraw affection, manipulate, or abuse, leaving the codependent partner confused, desperate, and clinging to the memory of those early highs. This is classic trauma bonding. The initial euphoria becomes the hook that keeps the victim stuck in the cycle despite the dysfunction that follows. What seemed like a fairy tale beginning turns out to be a trap. A sobering reminder of how dangerous instant chemistry can be when it's used to mask abuse or deep incompatibility. I've struggled with codependency in my own life. In the summer of 2018, I went on a date with someone I'd met online. Sparks were flying everywhere. I couldn't believe how much I liked this man. His profile was underwhelming, his photos even worse. But in person, he completely took me by surprise. Little did I know I had just crossed paths with a malignant narcissist, and what followed was one of the most traumatic dating experiences of my life. It started with love bombing, intense attention, flattery, and connection, which then gave way to cruelty and abuse. And the worst part? The worse he treated me, the more I wanted him. To this day, it's hard for me to explain what happened, why I kept going back, why I felt such intense emotions for someone who verbally abused me and who SA'd me, and eventually even threatened to unalive me. It's another painful example of how I mistook chemistry for something meaningful, when in reality, it was a sign I was in danger. Relationship coaches often point out that super intense, knock your socks off chemistry is a red flag because it also clouds judgment. In the haze of a honeymoon phase, couples may bond quickly and deeply, rushing into commitment on a wave of passion. This rapid escalation makes it easy to overlook fundamental incompatibilities in values, lifestyle, or long-term goals. As one therapist notes, the flood of emotions from early infatuation can blind us to warning signs, making us believe that our intense connection will overcome anything. But when the rush fades, those differences often resurface, and they don't just go away. Conclusion: slowing down the fire. This doesn't mean that passionate beginnings are always doomed. Some great love stories do start with sparks and butterflies, and that's okay. The key is awareness and pacing. Intense attraction should be enjoyed, but also approached with a bit of caution and reflection. Ask yourself, beyond the excitement, do we share core values? Can we communicate well? Are we both emotionally healthy? In a healthy relationship, emotional and physical intimacy grow together, paced by mutual trust and respect. It doesn't rocket to extremes or ignore personal boundaries. So if it feels like a whirlwind, take a breath. As one dating coach puts it, no matter how sparkly and exciting your new crush is, you're better off taking things slow and keeping your own values and needs in mind. By grounding yourself instead of getting swept away in the chemistry, you give yourself the best chance to see the relationship clearly for what it really is. Ultimately, intense initial chemistry is a double-edged sword. It might signal a genuine connection, or it might be masking red flags, unresolved trauma, or toxic dynamics. Pay attention to the pattern, not just the promise. If the connection feels like a runaway train, stop and reflect. true love can handle a steady pace. When passion is balanced with patience, mutual respect, and self-awareness, you're far less likely to crash and burn from those early fireworks. So yes, enjoy the spark, but keep your eyes open. That's how you'll learn to tell the difference between a flame that can warm your heart for the long haul and one that's burning too hot, too fast, set to fizzle out, or worse, leave you scorched in its aftermath. Thank you for listening. Please like and subscribe to support the channel.